I know you've been looking at the calendar and thinking the years have passed you by. You've been scrolling through timelines, seeing people hit milestones you thought you'd hit by now, and it's got you wondering if you missed your moment. But let me tell you something. God doesn't measure time the way we do. We live by the clock on the wall, the calendar on the desk, the reminders on our phone. But heaven operates on divine appointments. And divine appointments never show up late. They show up when you're ready to receive them. You may feel delayed, but you are not denied. You may feel behind, but you are not forgotten. What looks like a waiting season to you is actually a preparation season to God. Sometimes God will hide you when the world thinks you should be shining. He will cover you when you think you're ready because He knows what's coming, and He knows you can't just arrive. You have to arrive prepared. You've been asking the Lord, why is it taking so long? But what if the delay is the blessing? What if the time you thought you were losing is the time He's using to strengthen you, to heal you, to strip away the insecurities that would have crushed you if you stepped into the promise too soon? You think you're late, but you're actually arriving in the fullness of God's timing. There are doors you don't even know exist yet, waiting for your knock. There are people you haven't met yet, who will be the key to your breakthrough. There are opportunities that have your name on them, but they're still being built. The enemy wants you to believe your best days are behind you. But the truth is, you haven't even touched your best days yet. You're not at the end. You're at the beginning of a chapter you didn't see coming. Don't despise the pace. Don't curse the process. Every step you've taken, every heartbreak, every lesson, it's been shaping the version of you that will not just step into the promise, but sustain it. You are not too late. You are right on time for the life heaven has scripted for you. And when the moment comes, it won't feel rushed. It won't feel forced. It will feel like finally. So lift your head. Breathe, and walk like someone who knows they're right on time. That God's timing is not delayed. It's divinely aligned. We measure life in minutes and hours, and weeks and years, and birthdays and anniversaries. We look at our lives as if they're on a human-made schedule, and when something doesn't happen in the year we expected, we start to believe we've missed it. But God doesn't operate on our clocks. His ways are higher, His plans are greater, and His timeline is perfect. Sometimes we think delay means denial, but in the kingdom, delay can mean preparation, protection, and positioning. There are things you've prayed for that could have been given to you earlier, but if they had arrived too soon, you might not have been able to carry them. You might not have had the maturity, the wisdom, the resilience to hold on to them without losing yourself in the process. When God says you are right on time, He means every detail of your journey is accounted for. The moments that felt like detours were actually divine redirections. The seasons that felt empty were necessary for the seeds He planted in you to take root. God is not just interested in blessing you. He is committed to building you into someone who can walk fully in that blessing without it crushing you. That's why there are times He will slow you down, reroute you, or close doors that seem perfect in your eyes. It's not punishment, it's alignment. He knows what's ahead, and He's aligning you so that when you get there, you're not scrambling to catch up, but standing firm in the confidence of preparation. We often feel like God has forgotten us because we're looking at what He hasn't done yet. We measure His faithfulness by the visible milestones we think should have happened by now. But what if His greatest work in you right now is invisible? What if He's working in your character, your faith, your emotional strength, your spiritual endurance? What if He's removing certain habits, mindsets, and relationships that would have sabotaged your destiny? Sometimes His alignment looks like subtraction before it looks like addition. He takes things away to make room for what He's about to give you. And while it can feel like loss in the moment, it's actually preparation for gain. Think about the seasons in your life when you thought you were ready for something, but it didn't happen. Maybe you were ready in your own eyes, but God saw a bigger picture. He saw that certain things you couldn't see were still being put into place. He saw that you needed to learn certain lessons to handle the responsibility of what you were asking for. It's not enough to arrive, you have to arrive equipped. And equipment doesn't happen overnight. It's forged in seasons of waiting, in moments of quiet obedience, in times when you're showing up even when it feels like nothing is changing. God's alignment means He is working in your life even when you can't trace Him. It means that while you're worrying about the pace, He's making sure the path is stable. It means that while you're counting the days, He's counting the lessons you've learned and the growth you've gained. We may call it elates when something takes longer than we expect, but in heaven's language, it's called a right on time. If He released it earlier, it might have been out of season. Out of season fruit doesn't last. But fruit that ripens in the right season is strong, nourishing, and able to multiply. When God aligns things, it's not just about you being in the right place. It's also about the right opportunities, the right people, and the right atmosphere being prepared for your arrival. You might be ready today, but maybe the room you're supposed to walk into is still being built. Maybe the hearts you're supposed to impact are still being prepared. Maybe the resources you're going to need are still in motion. That's why He tells us not to grow weary in well-doing, because the harvest comes not when we expect it, but in due season. And a due season isn't a date you can circle on a calendar. It's a moment heaven has already set. There is no such thing as a too late with God because He is not bound by the deadlines and expiration dates that we think control our lives. He can redeem time. He can accelerate what looks like it should take years into moments. He can open doors you thought were locked forever. When He aligns something, it won't just happen. It will happen with such precision that you'll look back and realize every waiting moment, every disappointment, every delay was part of the plan to get you exactly where you needed to be. The alignment isn't just about the blessing. It's about your transformation along the way so that when the moment comes, you're not just stepping into it. You're ready to live in it. 10 seasons are preparation, not punishment. There are moments in life when it feels like you've been placed on the sidelines, like everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck in the shadows. You watch others step into opportunities, relationships, and breakthroughs, and you wonder why your turn hasn't come. It's easy to start believing you've been overlooked or forgotten, but hidden seasons are not about abandonment. They are about being shaped away from the noise. When God hides you, it is because He is doing something sacred in you, something that cannot be rushed or exposed too soon. In the hidden place, you're being developed in ways that the spotlight could never accomplish. You are learning to hear His voice without the distractions of applause. You are learning to trust Him without the validation of public recognition. In the hidden seasons, your roots grow deep. And just like a tree, if the roots aren't deep enough, the weight of the fruit will cause it to fall over. So God keeps you planted in soil that no one else can see, because He knows you need to be steady before you can be seen. The hidden place is also a place of refinement. It's where your motives are purified. It's where your dependence on God becomes unshakable. In the spotlight, it's easy for your motives to get tangled up in wanting to be admired or approved by people. But in the hidden place, there's no one to impress. It's just you and God, and in that space, He can deal with the insecurities, fears, and wounds that would sabotage your calling if left unchecked. You may think you're ready for your moment, but God knows what will happen if you arrive with an unhealed heart. The hidden season is His mercy, not His rejection. It's also in the hidden place that you learn endurance. Without pressure, without trials, there's no development of spiritual muscle. We want promotion without preparation, but God's pattern is always preparation before promotion, before promotion. Just because you're not being seen doesn't mean you're not being developed. David was anointed king while still a shepherd boy, but he stayed in the fields tending sheep before ever stepping onto the throne. Those unseen years were the very training ground that made him ready for what God had promised. If he had skipped the hidden season, he wouldn't have had the skill, courage, or wisdom to lead. In the hidden season, God often works in ways that are not glamorous. You may be doing small, ordinary things, the kind of work that doesn't get recognition. But those ordinary acts are training you for extraordinary assignments. The patience you learn now will sustain you later. The humility you develop now will protect you when influence comes. The discipline you build now will carry you through when pressure increases. The hidden place is a workshop for your destiny. We tend to see hidden seasons as wasted time because the world teaches us that visibility equals value. But heaven measures value by faithfulness, not fame. If you can be faithful in obscurity, you will be faithful in opportunity. If you can serve with excellence when no one is watching, you will have the character to serve with excellence when everyone is watching. God doesn't want you to rise quickly and fall just as fast. He wants you to last. And lasting requires a foundation that can only be built in hiddenness. The hidden season is also a place where God protects you from premature exposure. Sometimes, the very thing you're asking for would be dangerous if you had it too soon. The platform you're praying for could magnify your weaknesses before they've been healed. The relationship you think you're ready for could distract you from the assignment God has for you. The business opportunity you've been chasing could crush you under the weight of responsibilities you haven't been equipped to handle yet. God hides you so that when you step into your calling, you step in with strength, wisdom, and discernment. Another thing the hidden place does is create intimacy with God. In seasons of visibility, your time and attention can be pulled in 100 different directions. But in the quiet, hidden spaces, you can hear His whispers more clearly. You can receive His instruction without the noise of competing voices. You can deepen your relationship with Him in ways that will anchor you when life gets busy and chaotic. This intimacy will be your secret weapon in seasons of influence because it will keep you grounded when everything else is pulling you to drift. The hidden season is not a prison, it's a cocoon. A caterpillar doesn't fight the cocoon. It yields to it because something transformational is happening inside. The shell may feel tight, the process may be uncomfortable, and the isolation may feel like loss, but it's in that space that the wings are formed. Without the hiddenness of the cocoon, there would be no butterfly. Without the hiddenness of your current season, there will be parts of you that never fully develop. God will not allow you to emerge half-formed. He loves you too much for that. Being hidden is not being forgotten. It is God's way of protecting what He's invested in you. He's not keeping you out of the spotlight because He's unsure about you. He's keeping you there because He's sure of what's coming for you. The hidden season is a place of strategy. It's where the foundation is laid, the vision is clarified, and the heart is prepared for the weight of the next level. When the time comes for you to be revealed, it will not be a moment of scrambling to catch up. It will be a moment of walking into something you've been fully prepared for. Delay is often the blessing in disguise. We tend to see delay as an interruption, as if it's a roadblock keeping us from where we need to be. We feel the frustration build when the promotion doesn't come, when the relationship doesn't work out, when the opportunity we've been praying for slips through our fingers. We tell ourselves that something went wrong, that we must have missed the moment, that we're falling behind. But there are times when God allows a delay, not because He wants to withhold something from us, but because He's protecting us, positioning us, or perfecting something in us for the season ahead. If you could see everything He sees, you would understand that sometimes arriving later is arriving better. The thing you've been asking for might not have been ready when you first prayed for it. That job you wanted so badly might have been full of hidden challenges that would have drained your joy. That relationship you thought was the answer to your prayers could have pulled you off course. That door that didn't open when you knocked might have led you somewhere you weren't meant to go. Delay often means that what's on the other side needs more time to mature, or that you need more time to be prepared to handle it. Delay can also be a sign of God's mercy. There are situations where stepping into something too soon would have brought more harm than good. When we rush ahead of God's timing, we can find ourselves in rooms we aren't equipped to stand in, carrying weights we don't have the strength to bear. The delay you're experiencing might be the very thing keeping you from burnout, heartbreak, or unnecessary battles. What feels like a closed door might actually be a shield, blocking you from things that could wound your spirit or derail your purpose. In the waiting, God is often doing work beneath the surface that we can't see. He is aligning the right connections, moving the right people into position, and setting up circumstances that will make the blessing sustainable when it comes. The delay is not wasted time, it's construction time. It's the space where God is laying the foundation so that when you step into what He has for you, it's not temporary, it lasts. We often want the fruit immediately, but God knows that fruit picked too early will spoil quickly. When it comes in its appointed time, it's ripe, it's nourishing, and it's able to multiply. Delay also shapes our character. It's in the seasons of waiting that we learn patience, endurance, and trust. It's easy to have faith when things happen quickly, but real faith is forged in the fire of waiting. When you have to believe without seeing, when you have to keep walking without knowing exactly when the answer will come, your trust in God grows deeper. This trust becomes the anchor that keeps you steady when life feels uncertain. Without the delay, you might never have developed the spiritual maturity needed to carry the blessing well. There's another layer to the blessing of delay. It changes our perspective. When you've had to wait for something, you value it more when it arrives. You don't take it for granted because you remember the seasons when you didn't have it. You appreciate the journey, not just the destination. The delay allows you to grow into someone who doesn't just receive blessings, but knows how to steward them well. This perspective protects you from pride and keeps you grounded in gratitude. Sometimes the delay is not even about you. It's about someone else who is part of your story. The people you're meant to meet, the doors you're meant to walk through, the opportunities that will change your life, they might not be ready yet. God's timing is not just personal, it's interconnected. He's weaving together your story with the stories of others, and the delay ensures that when everything comes together, it's a perfect fit. The beauty of divine timing is that it's never just about one life. It's about the impact that life will have on many others. Delay can also be a time for God to strip away what you don't need. Before He brings you into the next season, He may need to remove relationships, habits, or mindsets that could sabotage the blessing. The delay gives you time to heal from past wounds, to release the baggage you've been carrying, and to step into the new season lighter and freer. What feels like God holding you back might actually be Him releasing you from things that were never meant to come with you into your future. There is a reason Scripture talks about a due season. Due season is not a random date. It is the exact moment when everything is ready, when you are prepared, and when the environment you're stepping into is prepared for you. If the blessing comes before its due season, it can spoil. But when it arrives in the fullness of God's timing, it will not only be right, it will be undeniable that it was meant for you. The delay becomes the evidence that God was in control the whole time, that He knew what He was doing, and that His plan was better than anything you could have orchestrated on your own. Your best days are still ahead, not behind. It's easy to look back and think the moments that made you feel most alive are gone. We replay seasons where everything seemed to be moving forward, where opportunities came easily, where relationships felt full of promise, and we tell ourselves those were the golden years. But that's a lie. The enemy loves to whisper that your peak has passed, that the window has closed, that the rest of your life will be a shadow of what once was. The truth is, God does not lead His children back. His plans are progressive. His purposes are unfolding. And His vision for you includes things you haven't even dreamed yet. What you've experienced so far is only a glimpse of the story He's still writing. The idea that your best days are behind you is rooted in fear and comparison. You see others stepping into new seasons and assume you've missed your turn, or you measure your current reality against a past season where you felt more fulfilled and decide nothing will ever match that. But the God who created the heavens and the earth is not limited by your past successes or your past mistakes. He can take what seems like the end and make it the beginning of something greater. He can breathe new life into places you thought were barren. He can bring opportunities that surpass anything you've ever known. When we believe our best days are behind us, we stop expecting. We lower our faith, we settle for less, and we let our hearts grow weary. But expectation is the fuel of faith. When you believe there is more ahead, you start living like it. You pray differently. You prepare differently. You speak differently. The hope of better days shifts the way you carry yourself because you know you are moving towards something, not away from it. God is always working toward increasing your life. That doesn't always mean more money, more status, or more recognition. Sometimes it means deeper peace, stronger faith, richer relationships, and greater purpose. The best days ahead may not look like the best days behind you, but they will carry a fulfillment that the old seasons couldn't give because you weren't the same person then. The growth, the wisdom, the scars you carry now have prepared you for a kind of blessing you couldn't have held before. It's also important to realize that God's definition of a best often looks different from ours. We tend to think of a bestie as the times we were most comfortable, most celebrated, or most successful in the eyes of others. But God's best is about alignment with His will. His best is when you're walking in the fullness of the purpose He created you for. His best is when you're operating in a place where your gifts, your calling, and your character meet. That's why He can promise that the glory of the latter will be greater than the former, because what's coming is not a repeat of the past. It's a transformation into something new. Sometimes we resist moving forward because we've attached our identity to what used to be. We define ourselves by old achievements or old roles, and the thought of stepping into something unfamiliar feels risky, but you are not the sum of your past seasons. You are evolving, and God is calling you into something that requires the you that exists today, not the version of you from years ago. The skills you've learned, the faith you've built, the resilience you've developed, these are the tools that will shape the future you're walking into. Your best days ahead also come with fresh vision. God doesn't just want to repeat old blessings. He wants to give you new assignments, new ideas, and new opportunities to make an impact. He will stir dreams in your heart that challenge you to think bigger than before. He will open doors in places you never considered. He will put you in rooms you never imagined you'd be in. The road ahead may not look like the one behind you, but it is leading to something greater than you can imagine. There will be moments in the journey ahead that will require courage. You may have to let go of things you've been holding on to for comfort's sake. You may have to step into spaces where you feel unqualified. You may have to trust God in ways that stretch you beyond your limits. But every time you step forward in faith, you are positioning yourself for the days He has promised. You are moving closer to the place where everything you've walked through will make sense. Where the tears you cried will be answered with joy. Where the years of sowing will meet the harvest you've been waiting for. Believing your best days are still ahead is not blind optimism. It's a declaration of faith. It's choosing to believe God's word over your feelings. It's choosing to believe His promises over your past experiences. It's choosing to believe that He is still writing your story and that the pages to come will carry chapters of breakthrough, transformation, and purpose you haven't yet known. It's living with the conviction that no matter what's behind you, the Creator of time and destiny is still ahead of you, calling you into more. When it's your time, it will feel like a finally, not a forced. There's a difference between trying to make something happen in your own strength and stepping into a moment that God has orchestrated for you. When you try to force it, you exhaust yourself pushing on doors that don't open, chasing opportunities that never materialize, and convincing people to see your value when they can't. It's like swimming upstream, constant effort with little progress, but when it's your time, there is a flow. The doors open without you having to kick them down. The right people appear without you begging for their attention. The pieces fit together so perfectly that you can't deny God's hand in it. When God says it's time, you won't have to manipulate circumstances or rush the process. Everything will align in such a way that you'll know this is not something you could have engineered on your own. It will feel like the opportunities found you instead of you chasing them. It will feel like the right words come at the right moment, the right connections form at the right time, and the right resources show up just when you need them. That's because divine timing is about alignment. Not just your readiness, but the readiness of the season, the environment, and the people connected to your destiny. We often get frustrated in the waiting because we see glimpses of what could be and assume it should be now. We see the vision and think the gap between where we are and where we're going should be short. But vision is a preview, not a timestamp. God gives you glimpses to ignite your faith, but He still takes the time to prepare you for the reality of that vision. The waiting isn't wasted. It's the space where He shapes your character, strengthens your endurance, and deepens your trust. Because when it is finally your time, the blessing will require you to carry it with maturity, humility, and wisdom. Forcing something out of season can lead to frustration, disappointment, and even loss. You might get the thing you wanted, but it won't last if it wasn't ready for you or you weren't ready for it. It's like picking fruit before it's ripe. It may look good on the outside, but it won't have the sweetness it was meant to have. On the other hand, when you receive it in season, it has the fullness, the strength, and the stability to endure. God doesn't just want to give you what you've prayed for. He wants to give it to you in a way that it blesses you and doesn't burden you. When it's your time, the confirmation will be undeniable. You'll look back and see how every delay, every detour, and every closed door was actually a step toward this moment. You'll realize that what you thought was rejection was actual redirection. The prayers you prayed in tears will be answered in ways that surpass your expectations. You'll find yourself in places you once only dreamed about, doing things you once thought were impossible, and it will hit you. This is the finally you've been waiting for. It's important to remember that a finally doesn't always mean easy. The path God sets before you may still require hard work, persistence, and faith, but it will carry a grace that makes the journey sustainable. You'll still have to show up, but you won't have to strive in the same way you did when you were trying to force it. The difference will be in the peace you feel even in the midst of the challenges. The peace will come from knowing you are in the right place at the right time, walking in something that heaven has endorsed. The finally moment is not just about you. It's about the lives connected to your obedience. Your timing is tied to assignments, to people who need what you carry, to opportunities that will create impact far beyond your own life. God times your breakthrough in a way that positions you to be a blessing to others, not just to receive blessings for yourself. That's why He's so careful with the timing. He knows that what He's putting in your hands will ripple out into the lives of others, and He won't release it until both you and the assignment are ready. So if you find yourself waiting, resisting the urge to force something, and wondering why it hasn't happened yet, remember this: God is not slow in keeping His promises. He is intentional. He is strategic, and He is faithful to bring about everything He's spoken over your life in the season it was meant to happen. When that moment comes, you won't have to doubt whether it's yours. You won't have to fight to prove it or cling to it in fear. You will simply step into it with the confidence that it was always meant for you, and the peace that comes from knowing you didn't have to manipulate or compromise to get it. When it's your time, the striving will cease. The confusion will fade, and your spirit will recognize the alignment. And in that moment, it won't feel like you barely made it happen. It will feel like heaven had been holding it for you all along. That's when the words will rise in your heart. Finally.